Welcome to London, N17. Someplace this, it really is. Those of you who've already been here will know that. Lots of us here for the first time, finding out for the first time. World-class arena about to host top-end rugby again, and the long overdue return of the Gallagher Premiership. Six Nations was fun, but it's great to have all this back. And Mark McCall's able to select 18 internationals in this 23. Owen Farrell, currently a former international, I guess, with his Test career on hold. He's about to lead the side out with his kids ahead of his 250th game for the club that he's leaving at the end of the season. Farrell versus Marcus Smith, one of several delicious individual battles, alongside scrum half Ivan Fonsale, who's playing his 50th game for the club in the Prem. Elliot Daly, you'll notice, getting a rare outing at fullback. Alex Good on a strong bench. Maro Itoje suffered a minor injury in training this week, so he's one of several Arsenal fans who miss out. A Harlequins matchday squad that can muster over 2,000 first-team games between them, including half a dozen who busied themselves in the Six Nations. Lewis Liner is one of them after making quite an impression in his first couple of games for Italy. It'll be Liner and Alex Lewington in the same lane. We've already mentioned Marcus Smith, this his 100th Premiership start. Danny Care's back in multi-colours after passing 100 games in white over the last few weeks. It'll be skipper Stefan Levise's 50th game in the Prem, and we will keep an eye on Levise and Gonzalez, Evans against Erland, Dombrandt against Vunipola, Austin. So many head-to-heads today.
Yeah, brilliant head-to-heads across the forward pack. You can't look any further actually than the back rows. Gonzalez, Vunipola and Earl going against Evans, Dombrandt and Levise. They're just sensational back rows. They have a brilliant mix of ball carrying in the eights, over the breakdown in Evans and Earl, and fantastic all around the field athleticism of Gonzalez. Those two going ahead is mouth-watering. And then in the backs, it's obviously I've gone for the 10s. Old versus new. Farrell looks fresh. Smith always looks exciting. These two guys will dictate the tempo of the game, the field position, and ultimately the result.
Well, we mentioned that one Arsenal fan, Maro Itoje, was going to miss out on the trip at Spurs' home ground. We're hearing news of another one who's had to pull out. Rotimi Shegan, who's also a gunner, is injured. He was part of the warm-up. We'll find out what was wrong with him in a moment or two. But Sean Maitland in for Saracens on the right wing. Look at that dressing room. They were here early to make the most of the fabulous backstage facilities. Sarries enjoying that state-of-the-art home dressing room, Tottenham dressing room. All that matters now, though, is about what both teams do here. And Stefan Levise has walked the 50 steps from the not far off Oz palatial away dressing room. Here come Harlequins in the odd socks. We'll mention the reason for the odd socks in a moment or two. Leicester's home defeat to Gloucester last night means Quins are still second, Sarri still fourth, Bath in third. Home to Sale tomorrow with us here on TNT Sports. All three with the chance to close the gap on Northampton at the top. And Marcus Smith, a 100th Premiership start. Quite a Six Nations fortnight for him. The drop goal against Ireland, the try as England stretched ahead against France in Lyon when it looked like they might be about to record a wonderful win away from home for them, but now he's back to the meat and two veg of the Premiership.
Yeah, with all these players, it's about how they link with other players. There's Dombrandt to him to Beard. When those three play together, they really have a very strong attacking game. And then when you look at Sarries, a lot of people wouldn't think of actually Farrell plays so much better with Elliot Daly. Watch how he sits behind him during the match, how he tracks him around and looks for space, becomes his eyes. Those two together are really good in phase play.
250th game for the captain Owen Farrell, and with the family he'll be taking with him to Paris at the end of the season. His sons Tommy and Freddie, wife Georgie won't be far away. And at a club he's been at since he was 14, since his dad arrived. The place that he's grown up playing with his best mates. And just hearing him chat with Sarr before the match, Lawrence, as relaxed as I've ever heard him.
Very relaxed indeed, and but underlying that relaxed mood is a real fierce determination Look at that, lovely for him, lovely moment for him and his family and this team. He will be determined more than ever to ensure that when he does go the other side of the channel, that it's with another Champions Trophy that he leaves Saracens with.
No confirmation yet, but it may well be Mako Vunapola's final season as a Saracen. His brother Billy has been strongly linked this week with a move to Montpellier. At the end of every season, every team changes, but it does feel like a big changing of the guard here at Saracens, and they know that they've got half a dozen rounds of the regular season to go to make it a season, another season to remember. Make the top four, make the final, maybe make a successful defence of the title.
This feels like a final. Doesn't feel like there's 6 rounds to go. I mean, it is the most exciting running that I think we've ever seen. And today just epitomises that. 60-odd thousand people here to see a spectacle of rugby. And hopefully these two sides deliver. They average over 50 points the last 7 times they play. So we could be in for an absolute cracker, Nick.
Yeah, two sides who play it quickly. One thing you would say about this pitch, it feels as big between the try lines, between the touch lines as maybe Twickenham, but it's a very shallow in-goal area. You're going to have to kick accurately if that's what you're doing behind the defence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've just come off the back of international rugby, but this feels like a test match. The atmosphere, the venue, the quality of players we've got out on the field. It really is international rugby in domestic colours.
The referee is Christoph Ridley, Six Nations referee himself now as well, after being in the middle of all that drama in Lille between France and Italy. Joe James, Simon Harding with the flags, TMO Stuart Terridge. There's Sean Maitland, who's been whistled into the 23. We're hearing that Rotimi Shegan has a tight calf, that's why he's pulled out late on. But no lack of quality on the wing for Saracens. The weekend that launches the run-in, the final few laps of the regular season.
Okay,
so many runners in contention, in a bunch, including these two. And what an arena to play this out. Short, stubby one down the middle from Farrell, but Saracens dealt with it well, and Joe Launchbury lays it back for care. Evasive action from the captain, Stefan Levis, and Sarries with the long clearing kick. Daly from fullback, just second time this season that he started at fullback. And then Theo Dan immediately stretching his legs immediately through big holes, and Evans needed to get back for Quinn's chip over the top. Lewington's chasing, and the ball was very nearly gathered by Sinti. But first Dan, then the kicks, then the opportunity.
Well, we know the aerial battle is really important, and as soon as Elliot Daly put that kick up, and then Theo Dan is able to snap onto that loose ball. You talk about the in-goal area, Owen Farrell trying to measure that kick to perfection, and Saracens nearly up and running.
Yeah, big worry for Quins though, as Danny Kerr's limping. He is essential to everything that they do in terms of the pace of their game, the tempo at the breakdown.
They've got Max Green on the bench. He's the replacement scrum half. Daly. Ball over the top to Maitland. Farrell just lazily lays it back to Mako Vunapola. Fun Sale. Farrell again. Now Earl in 7 today, but offloading brilliantly to Sinti. Saracens again pressing buttons on this left-hand side.
No.
Smell of fireworks, fireworks smoke still hanging above us in this grand arena. The Saracens make a very sparky start. Theo McFarland. Fun Sale, Billy Vunapola. Elliot Daly prowls away to the right-hand side. Sean Maitland stretching the pitch as far as it'll go.
Not rolling, advantage.
Sarah's with the advantage. And a real toe hold here. Farrell, that's lovely. And then Daly away, and Lewington. Smith trying to hold him up to no avail. Absolutely no more than Saracens' crackerjack start to this match deserves. We've barely been playing and they have the first try.
Well, apart from catching that first kick-off, it's been all Saracens. They are pumped. They are really up for it. They've come out the blocks fast. Kicking game to great effect. Really moving the ball both sides of the field. And they just look so sharp, so hungry. It's always difficult when you come off the back of a rest period for certain players and you've got international players coming back. But Farrell, just that little shoulder ball. Elliot Daly over the top. And Lewington with a pivot just does enough to dot down. Really good start from the home team.
Been short on numbers on 3 or 4 occasions already on this right-hand side. And instead of actually just backing off a little bit and using the touchline, they've blitzed out Marcus Smith on that occasion on Tompkins, and the Beard have to step in with him. That created the extra space for Daly to put the pass in. They've got to sort their defence out, Quins. It's been shoddy so far.
Without Jerry Flannery these days, Jerry heading to South Africa during the Six Nations break, and that defence being tested early on. Conversion from Farrell, 7-0.
It's a fantastic kick from Farrell, but there's the step up. Marcus Smith coming, Beard has to chase with him. Smith gets back to make the tackle, but you've just got to try and stay connected and buy yourself a little bit more time if you're short of numbers.
And Saracens, for the first time in this contest, having to do a little bit of defending, but not for long.
Yeah, Owen Farrell adding the extras, and better kick chase from Harlequins.
Tyrone Green takes a bit of a buffeting as he came down, but gathered it cleanly. Seems fine for the time being, just an early concern as Evans takes it in. Launchbury. I enjoy being back on big stages like this. All those days that he played for England at Twickenham. Caden Murley amongst those helping to shift it a little bit further away to the left and then brought back in by Green. Kerr just having a look to see if the door was half ajar. It wasn't.
Yeah, Saracens in their usual way trying to keep as many men on their feet as possible defensively as Marcus Smith goes to the air.
There's a kick looking for the height of Andre Esterhazen. Very nearly the boot of Alex Dombrandt worked out, but not quite from Sale, and then Esterhazen came in importantly. Tizard waits, wants a Quinn. Had to stretch down low to keep that alive.
Use it! No.
3, 2.
Was that Joe Marler counting?
You have the fourth commentator out there on the pitch in Joe Marler. We'll keep you posted.
We want those rocks away nice and cleanly. So does Joe, and so do his mates.
Use it!
That's a Harlequins rock.
Step.
Stefan Levis lumbers after it. A little bit more speed from Lewis Liner, and again nicely taken by Daly. He's had a couple of early tests.
Good counter up there from Quins, but fortunately they didn't stay on their feet. So
Yeah, he's got his hands on the floor, hasn't he?
Don't count, Joe, please. Don't count the 5-1, because we agreed with the coaches before the game. They didn't want it either. That's their job.
Now I know.
What's the route? What's he saying?
I need that shot there.
Don't
there you
on
go.
guys counting down for the box kicks.
I always thought you would try and get on the side of the referee early on in a game, not on its wrong side.
It was actually Owen Farrell who then came in and told Joe not to argue with the referee.
well, we all learn that eventually, don't we? But Christoph Ridley wanting to set the tone for this game, and so far it's a game that Harlequins are doing all the defending.
Looks like Theo McFarland is down. He's getting some treatment to is that his right knee, right ankle, just a bit of extra strapping by the looks of things, a little bit of pain. He was due to start in the back row today before Maro Itoje landed rather awkwardly during line-out practice on Tuesday.
6. I think it's going to be 6.
Tom Willis and Andy Christie provide back row cover. Tom Willis back from injury.
If it changes, I'll give you time to adjust.
It's a ridiculously strong Saracens bench. He's not on it, but Tom Willis next to him is. Andy Christie is Jamie George is desperate to be part of this match, despite not having trained this week, to be part of Owen Farrell's big day.
Six-man line out here. Watch Ben Earl. He's just loitering just off the side here. And we've seen how dangerous he's been back into that pocket.
Dan took it in, Oz. McFarlane back on his feet. And now Tompkins and Marcus Smith on him very quickly.
Yeah, much better defensive set there from Quins.
Dan starting with Jamie George on the bench. Farrell. Tompkins was close by, but Saracens will get another go with Sinti. Van Sale, McFarland. Farrell again, just floating around, offering that threat, distributing, questioning to Earl. Oh, and Earl has found some space, and he finds the scrum half, Ivan Van Sale. Billy Bonapola waits not far away. Oh, and
Backwards.
Fortunately, not for the first time in his life, his brother had his back.
Yeah, they'll tip onto his brother, but they're finding space. Ben Earl, particularly with his footwork, causing Quins all sorts of problems.
Having a look to the far right-hand side where Gonzalez was lurking.
Oh, great catch from Tyrone Green. And he's gone quickly as well. It's that 50-22. Oh, it just bounces the wrong way. The catch that Green takes above his head. Big positive as well in terms of territory. But you just see he has to back off. Farrell just pulls the kick a little bit too far inside. We saw him score that try, Superman, earlier on in the season. Look at this. That's a fantastic piece of skill.
Well, Quins with their first bit of possession really in this game. It's been all going backwards so far.
Jack Walker's throw. Quins ball. Smith to Esterhazen, who didn't take the ball with him.
Advantage, knock on.
So Quins with the advantage, and Daly spins it away to Lewington, the early try scorer. Oh, however, Quins have it back, but not for long. They kick it to Van Sale. And now Tompkins. Van Sale offers support. Again, Smith down low. Hefty hit on Sinti.
Sam, twice. Not rolling. He's jackled when you're still in the way. A massive advantage that way.
Explanation from the referee, Christoph Ridley.
Well, just a bit loose, wasn't it, from both teams? Trying to.
That's fine. It's not you. It's them.
Owen Farrell opted to go for the corner, but Danny Kerr could have used hands there.
Absolutely.
And Quins would have been in. I'm almost certain of that. He opted for the kick. He's charged down, and it's Saracens now.
I think he had 4 men outside him. Very rare he makes a mistake like that. Big occasion, occasionally alters the mindset.
Dan to Theo McFarlane, who looks fine after some early treatment. Tompkins goes in to weigh in. So does Lewington. Yeah, they're only 3 or 4 metres short. Saracens with the penalty. It's gone against Stefan Levis. Sean Maitland in isolation away on the right-hand side. Tyrone Green is covering him defensively. It never got that far anyway.
Yeah, penalty, I think, against Stefan Levis for side entry. And I would imagine, having gone for the corner, they'll probably do the same again. Unless, yeah. They are fired up.
Joe Marler just having a listen in there to what Saracens were plotting. Theo Dan took exception to it.
As you were, Theo McFarlane again, and Theo Dan has it in the back.
has gone against Joe Marler. Tompkins, Vunipola, Farrell, the big quick pass to Daly, who tries to get beyond Murley, and then the kick for a chasing Maitland, but Green was there.
Referee might have a word here with Harlequins.
Not rolling, entry, and then one white, changing binds. The next one will go to the bin if it's in this area again. Yes, please. Thank you. Just mentioned it, yeah. One breakdown, 2 line out.
That was so big, that person.
There's no question that Owen Farrell is having the better conversations with the referee Christoph Ridley at the moment.
Well, his team are on the attack, aren't they? And that's 2 penalties at line out, 1 at the breakdown, and the threat of the yellow card. So they've got to be ultra careful now, which does tend to affect the way you defend.
Just getting his contact lens sorted.
And all of us enjoying being here. I think that's the view from the Paxton Terrace. Looking to the Park Lane end, the end to the right-hand side.
Advantage number 6.
Gonzalez takes it. Levis again, and on they go, and another penalty, and Quinn's holding on by their fingertips here, and there's a yellow card.
Could have been a penalty try, that, Nick. That was going to the line. Collier took it down right on the line. Got away with that.
Well, it's not quite a penalty try, but the yellow card, which was threatened, has come out now, and you can bet that Saracens have put this in the corner again.
Crikey, this is hard defensive work for Quins right now.
There's only one team in this contest at the moment. Only one team's come out of the changing rooms.
Yeah, looks like Saracens' pre-match meal down in the dressing room composed entirely of raw meat, because they have come out snarling.
Yeah, Theo Dan, he's there in the chair. He's just got to be a little bit more patient this time. Just hold it, getting a bit of backup now from
Lewington comes in just to square things up. Over they go. Teamwork. Theo Dan at the beginning and at the end. And right now, Saracens are unstoppable.
Yeah, it was inevitable. And Harlequins had to defend with a man less. Theo Dan, who's made a really bright start, doesn't get many opportunities to start, does he? But when he does, he knows he's got to take them. And Gonzalez this time with the line-out take, and a little bit more patience. I thought Theo Dan just allowed the ball to develop. Launchbury's doing everything in his power to try and padlock it, but there's too much force, too much weight, and Saracens utterly dominant.
Theo Dan, 8 tries in his last 8 Premiership starts. Whenever Jamie George does decide to retire, and let's hope that that's not for a long time in the future, they're all right with Theo Dan as a backup.
Yeah, he's not bad, is he? Half decent. But what was impressive actually was how, and the way that the backs joined. It was like Lol said, they were being patient, but they were moving towards the touchline. We'll have another look at it after the kick.
Again, it's another beauty.
Fantastic.
14-0.
The stats weren't so good before today, but he's certainly working on them in the break. But look how the backs join in, particularly Tompkins. They start to move towards the sideline. They're very patient, like Lauren said, the pack. But as they start to build up a little bit of momentum, you think, OK, they could be in a bit of bother here. And watch all the backs as they run in. Instead of just going straight over the ball, they run round to the far side and push it back in field. Just gives Dan a little bit more stability on the ball to get over the line. I'm not saying they did all the work, but they did all the work.
Yeah, I think quite understandably, with the last couple of months that Jamie George has had, he had the week off and he's on the bench, but Theo Dan, my word, what a replacement.
McFarlane plucking it out of the air. Funsell kicking it into the air. And once again, Green.
We saw last night, actually, it was 17-3, I think, to Gloucester. You're thinking, how are Leicester going to get back into this game? Because they weren't in it for the first 25 minutes. And then just a little bit of luck came their way. And all of a sudden, they were back on the charts. I think Quins needs something similar here because they're properly under the cosh.
McFarlane sprinting around Launchbury, and here goes Daly. He's on his own. Marcus Smith's getting back to do what he can do. Taken well by Sinti. but he had to take the knee, and that just slowed things down a little, Will. Earl. Tizard on hand to keep the movement. Vunipola, Farrell, over the top, Maitland, it's as easy as you like. And Quins are being undressed at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by a rampant Saracens.
Well, this is going to get very embarrassing very quickly for Quins if, as Austin said, they've not been in the game, and how can they get back in the game? Well, the way you don't do it is by turning the ball over, and they lose it at the breakdown. Billy Vunipola hands over the ball, he's got away with that one, maybe, but the break then, and they're into the spaces, and maybe the Quins attacking lineup, the turnover ball just exposes them on that edge, and then it's a simple question of hands. A lovely pass over the top here, out the back from Billy. Owen Farrell, who started this game like a man who's had a few weeks off and very determined, and Maitland, who wasn't even on, gets the third try.
He could literally have walked that over.
It's impressive, isn't it? But it's a proper team performance. Sinti didn't have the eyes for the try line. He had eyes for securing possession, making sure that it didn't die. Stayed on his feet about a little bit of time. But Quins aren't bouncing back into a defensive line. There's only 3 defenders out there on the far side. You know where the ball's going. You've just got to make the effort to get there. When you've got someone who's kicking like this, it's a death. But it's just like you said, it's too easy. The second defender's Marler, so you're not going to get much width if one of your front 5 is one of the only guys who's made the effort to get in your defensive line.
Saracens are the best team in the league in the red zone at converting time in the opposition 22 into points. They've been in the red zone half a dozen times already in this match, and they've already got 19 points.
Yeah, and still a yellow card, so there's 5 minutes now where Quins have still got to play with 14 men, and problem is Quins, 2 or 3 times they've had the ball, they've just coughed it up straight away, and that just invites more and more pressure on your side defensively.
Well, the second best team at converting red zone into points are Harlequins, but they've yet to really be introduced to the red zone, to Saracens 22
The
so
thing
far.
about Quins is, unless they're 30 or 40 points down, you can't really write them off, as we've seen in seasons gone by at this stage.
Well, there's been a killer efficiency about Saracens at their best so far this season, and they have been at their best so far here.
Well, Mark McCall talked about that Bordeaux defeat being a watershed moment in their season, and some little details that they were really analysing. Well, they've got every detail right so far.
Gonzalez popping up on the shoulder. He's signed up for another 3 years during the Six Nations window. Farrell and now Tizard. Oh, that's been lost. Apologies for Owen Farrell, but the understandable anger may be directed at his teammate Hugh Tizard.
I mean, one mistake, probably one of the few that they made, and Farrell, that's the level that he wants.
What you had just there, however, was if you're ever lucky enough to watch Saracens train during the week at Old Albanians, that's Owen Farrell on the training pitch, absolutely setting standards, Austin, demanding that they play at match intensity all the time.
I understand that, but I also have a little bit of difficulty with it, because if I'm Tizard and I've made that carry, I've not knocked it on purpose. You know, I've not been hit from the inside or over the shoulder on purpose. It's not necessarily my fault, it might be circumstantial. So at some point you have to go, unlucky mate, get up, next job. There's an energy element to that as well. If he shouts at me like that and then goes and makes a mistake himself, I'm going to smash his face in.
I think what it tells you is what the point. I agree with that. The point you're making, Nick, is how fired up Owen Farrell is. He's had his batteries recharged. He is super determined, and he wants to see.
I get that, Lol, but it's dangerous. As a leader, it's a really fine, it's a tightrope you're moving across. And he is a leader, there's no doubt about that.
Use it! Use it! We're going now, sir, we're going now. Ball is already set.
Smith. Madalina up in support. Smith decides
he's
to...
lost it as well.
He's lost it.
Ripped on the floor, though.
Stripped him on the floor.
Penalty against Lewington by the looks of it.
Stripped him on the floor, not in the air.
It's not nice, wasn't it, from Smith? Just a simple pass from Danny Kerr, and he He's able to take the ball all the way to the line. There it is, Lewington with the strip on the floor and that elusive entry into the 22. They wouldn't want to be there, having shipped 19 points already.
Slice that. Could have got another 10 metres there, as Pack will probably now change the call from what they thought they were going to use. Maybe some kind of peel now. Donbrandt and Evans in the back.
5.
Walker to Launchbury. My goodness, Harlequins need some time in this area of the pitch.
Yes, they've done the first detail right. Got that ball driving forward, just got to be careful now. Broken away.
So 3 minutes still to go on Stefan Levise's yellow card. Harlequins a man down.
Good work, stay there.
Up until that point. Donbrandt. Feel the hits, you can hear the hits.
Look at that.
And it forced Donbrandt to hold on to a ball.
He got turtleneck, he got rolled onto his back, then the ball gets presented, then it's just easy for Gonzalez or anyone, in fact, to get over the ball.
But it's the quality of the chop tackle as well. You come around the corner in ones only and you're going to get isolated against Saracens, and as he gets shot, he spins the wrong way, doesn't he, into where look at this, Donbrandt comes in, offering the right shoulder, spins the wrong way, and you're only going to be in trouble there. It's another example of Quins having that possession and turning it over almost immediately.
There down. Farland just tipped off his fingers to Juan Martin Gonzalez. He and Cinti both extending their contracts recently. A couple of Pumas mates. Scott Sean Maitland looks skywards. Challenge for the ball with Green. It came back on the Quinn side.
Okay, no hands, lost.
Caden Murley doing well initially to hold on to that, and long term as well. Smith under a lot of pressure, but Marler was there to offer the outlet. Marler's back in position. Here's Evans.
Yeah, just Quinn's having to commit so many men just to win the breakdown alone that they don't have the numbers that Saracens have.
Smith, where's he off to? Chases his own kick that bounced over the head of Daly, who recovered quickly and hits it towards the east stand. Now Stefan Levise is back on. It was 7-0 when he went off. Looks up at the huge scoreboard here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and he will know that it's a lot worse for that lot now.
Yeah, of course he went to the bin after cumulative penalties, so it wasn't just one individual infringement, there was a number, but they've been so under the cosh it was almost inevitable. They've really got to start holding on to this possession and putting Saracens under some pressure.
Esther Hazen told us while we were away with the Six Nations that he's heading back to South Africa next season. May have seen that. Being released early from his contract by Harlequins, he'll be a big miss. Daly meantime for Saracens. Left-footed kick over the head of Launchbury, gets the bounce.
They're just a couple yards off Quins in everything they do, aren't they? The setup for Esther Hazen, they didn't give him an opportunity. He's running at Earl and Vunipola. I know he's a big guy, but it's a difficult carry to make the gain line then. And then the chip is just too far. The chip, to begin with, that gives the ball to Daly is too far. They're a little bit predictable, which you never thought you'd say about Quins. But they're desperate.
In 5.
Levise straight back into it with the catch. It's only his third game in the last 12 months because of injuries, but it is his 50th in the Premiership today. Kerr's kick higher than it went forwards, and then it was Gonzalez stepping backwards to take it, and Earl and Daly. Quality of the kick from the fullback. You may well have noticed that the teams are wearing odd socks today to mark World Down Syndrome Day, which was this week, part of the Lots of Socks campaign. Around 1 in 800 of us are born with an extra odd chromosome, the little package of genes that determine how the body grows, how it works, and all of the good work that's going into better understanding Down syndrome. Being highlighted by both sets of players today.
Loose from Quins, over the top, overthrown, and Theo Dan straight onto it, making meters for fun.
Van Sale, McFarland. Harlequins back into a familiar routine, defending just outside the 22. It was Earl with the little wall pass, and oh, lovely from Daly through the legs. Lewington, two wingers conspiring. Is this a fourth within half an hour? It's turning into a very, very uncomfortable afternoon from those who have travelled from the south of town, and a very happy one for those who reside in the north. Well, Sarries have 4 tries.
Well, again, it's come from Harlequins' possession, and they're giving the ball straight back, overthrown at the line-out. Theo Dan munching up the meters, and then how about this from Elliot Daly? 7-style pass, and even then, still got a fair bit to do, hasn't he? But he's able to score with ease, breaking through tackles. Look at that from Daly, through the legs. And then Lewington with the simple feed. Maitland, really, really good, strong fend at the end.
It's like watching the Harlem Globetrotters at the minute. Everything they're doing is sticking. They had an opportunity before that phase to score straight away.
Okay, thank you.
He can't believe it himself either. 24, maybe 26-0 after 27 minutes. It's a sensational start from Sarries, and really putting down a marker in this run-in so far. Playing good rugby across the field.
It's like watching that Spurs team when Glenn Hoddle was pinging the ball around at the old White Hart Lane. They are something else. This is a very uncomfortable watch for everyone with a Harlequins heart at home at the moment. It's a tough kick. Unconverted try, but a 4th try for Saracens.
Just as that ball comes out, they're running that wrap play all the time, but that's the last defender. Marcus Smith is having to step out at 2 or 3 and try and get wide. They're really struggling defensively, Quins, for any width. So if you haven't got width, you've got to get line speed, and they have got neither currently. What a take that is.
Great take. Quins, obviously now they're points down. No point kicking the ball long. That's a good tackle, though.
Daly, how good has he been from fullback? Off they go again, goodness me. Van Sale to his right, to his left is Lewington. He comes back in field. Harlequins desperately trying to get some shape on this defence of theirs, and they've won it back well. Evans in the middle of it. We mentioned that Jerry Flannery, who'd been Harlequins' defensive coach for 3-4 years, Lawrence, has headed to replace Felix Jones as head of defence with the Springboks, and Jordan Turner-Hall has come in. Jordan, very excited, I know, about the work that he's going to have to do, but goodness me, he'll be looking at what he's seeing right now with some concern.
Yeah, look, they've been slow out the blocks, but the hardest bit to defend is when you turn the ball over, and for as well as Saracens have played, every time Quins have had the ball, they've turned it over straight away. And doesn't matter where you're set defensively, there's holes all over the field, so they just need to value and retain possession.
Chatting to Saracens' Dan Vickers. He'll be enjoying this down on Coach's Row in a moment. Saracens' Dan Vickers. Just allow him to see where this ball goes. It's going to go. There wouldn't be much of this match that you've not enjoyed so far, Dan, but that kick was maybe one of them. Did you feed your men raw meat down in the dressing rooms before this match?
I don't think so. Maybe there was something going on back there, but I don't think it was raw meat. But I think Lawrence is right. The transition's been important, hasn't it? And we've taken advantage of it. We've put it in the corners as well. They're so dangerous on the transition themselves, so we've just got to be careful, because at any point they can go. You could see that quick line that they just tried to throw there, so that's one of the things you've got to keep keeping an eye on.
Did you talk about the transition this week in training at Old Albanians, or are you seeing other things you talked about being implemented?
Yeah, transition, it's kind of like, I don't know, kicking codes, transition, it's all part of that, you know, turnovers, ball in the air. It's something we do refer to as much as possible, because it's such a big part of the game. you're mentioning, the defence is not set, and if you can take advantage, and also how quick can you recover if you do lose the ball and deal with it.
Brilliant. Cheers, Dad.
Thank you.
It's a decent scrum.
Saracens conceding the penalty. Simon Harding, the assistant ref, on this near side, and it releases Green, and Murley's in close proximity. And for the first time, we're hearing Harlequins' voices in the crowd.
Well, we'll go back for that penalty. They've had very little possession to work with, any of the outside backs at Quins.
How good was the counter up though from Sarries out wide there? I mean, the whistle's gone. They know they've got the advantage, but they don't stop.
So
That's really good. It just stops the recycle and another opportunity.
Yeah,
Back one.
scrum penalty going against
Number 1.
Vunipola. Mako, that is.
Well, he had a penalty here, didn't he? What, 10 minutes ago? Kicked it 10 metres. He's got to get this, at the very least, 7 metres away from the try line. It's not the easiest side, but it's not that tough a kick for a player of his quality. It's much better.
And you have to say that these are the opportunities they need to take now. They have to come away with points, have to get scoreboard pressure.
Walker with the throw. To the captain, to Levis. Walker folds back round. He's got Esterhazen adding some significant kilogrammage as well.
Still got it there.
Kerr to Esterhazen, who'd broken back to be amongst the backs again. Again, look at that attempt at the turnover. But not then for Saracens. Repelled, no way through for Marler.
Yeah, Esterhazen is really hit back.
Saracens defensively all over the place, just ferocious at the moment. Wherever the ball is, they're biting for it, fighting for it.
Yeah, you can see how pumped they are, seriously.
Smith, Liner, furthest right, but via Esterhazen first. Oh, the ball's gone loose. It is not a comfortable afternoon for Harlequins right now.
And that's all come from that defensive pressure. You could just see the ferocity with which Saracens are hitting. Smashed Esterhazen back. It's a guy that ordinarily, this is the second carry for Esterhazen. Look, ball's there. Yeah, and it's his mistake. Not Farrell over the top.
We just watched the replay. He spilled it when he hit the floor. There was nothing to do with it.
A Sunday afternoon offering from the Gallagher Premiership tomorrow, coming from the Rec. Bath very nicely placed to cement their position in the top 4 during the run-in. Sale hoping for a post-break pick-me-up after slipping down the table. Rugby Review that follows that at 5:15. Craig and the team poring over the return of the Prem. And in a fortnight, once we've done that, we'll be enjoying the last 16 of the Champions Cup. Every game with us, all 8, including Sarries in Bordeaux and Quins at home to Glasgow. Taken again by McFarland, who's been prominent, as you'd expect him to be.
Yeah, he's so high. Gives Theo Dan everything to aim for.
Dan finds Earl, who was on his marks early.
Okay, use it.
Just all very controlled, isn't it, Nick?
Step.
Line out executed. The exit now looks good. They've got an opportunity to attack again.
And Farrell releasing Sinti, who finds Maitland, who feels the kick's the best approach.
15, stop.
So Tyrone Green
No impact, play on.
against an on-rushing defence, hoping that Liner might be able to unpick it. Not quite. Kerr, Smith, Esterhazen. And now this is Murley, and he's got some toe. But it's a hopeful kick, and Lewington was there in plenty of time to wallop it along the east stand touchline and wallop it very successfully.
Well, everything's going the way of Saracens. Excellent clearance kick from Lewington. I think the particularly impressive thing is not just the 4 tries that Sarries have scored, but it's the way that they're tackling They're piling into the breakdown. They know how dangerous Harlequins and that man in particular can be if they get quick ball at ruck time. And every single breakdown they've piled into, whether they've had the ball or whether it's been Quinn's possession, and they just can't get a foothold in this game, Harlequins, in any way.
Well, this looks concerning. Billy Vunipola down, and the news being radioed in. Well, now looks less concerning. He's back on his feet.
I think he was winded, actually. There, maybe.
It's the commitment, isn't it, from all of them? Physical commitment across the field. Wouldn't be too concerned. I mean, they've only got Willis, Christie and Ezekiel on the bench for the back row. Yeah, they're struggling there, aren't
they're
they?
a few miles away from scraping the bottom of the barrel. Esterhazen away quickly to Smith, and then Green finds Liner. It's gone forwards. Can we start again? Quins might be thinking.
Well, if they did, their mindset would be very different, because Saracens are operating at a different level, and it says something about the game when you just before half-time. Look, they're trying to go off the back of the line out. It's commendable, but they're back in their own 22, and that's an intricate backs move, and ultimately has cost them a forward pass. And once again, they've handed possession straight back to Saracens.
And also now, Nick, they've got lots of threats from this position of the field. We've seen how good Ben Earl's been off the base. Almost Talalio-esque in some ways, just a lot quicker. And his ability then to, if they don't use him and the people stand tighter defensively, then they can go wide. But you know, his stats already are pretty good, aren't they?
Look, 8 clean breaks, those match stats from Saracens. I mean, they're just utterly dominant in every single area.
Well, it all starts with Harlequins' defence, and they will say, let's put down a marker here.
Yeah, well, it's going to be Marcus Smith against Ben Earl. I know who my money's on.
Tompkins on his toes as well. It's Earl
good
who
hit.
took the tackle beyond Vunipola to Tizard. That's over the gain line. McFarland upended, but he got the ball away, and Owen Farrell, who continues to have fun. Theo Dan.
No, Joe, no.
Fun sail. Billy Vunipola. He was hit back by Stefan Levis. Farrell, kick that didn't work into his opposite number, but Saracens might get a chance to reload. They don't, because George Hammond got there for Quins.
Well, you said defensive statement, and that much better from Quins. They've managed to limit the damage, and they're looking on attacking now.
Oscar Beard. I think it's the first time we've mentioned Oscar Beard, which is how little Quins have had opportunity to attack. And then again, the ball out of the hand, which was nowhere near the accuracy they needed.
Just the shape of the pass, though, Nick, it doesn't look to me like it's forward. I know I'm not down there, but just the way the ball turns over. Come on, that's not forward. You've got to let that go. The ball turns over on itself, so his hand's going backwards. I think that's harsh.
Yeah, I think you're right, but it's been adjudged to be forward, and it's just handed again possession back, and so hard when you keep making those unforced errors.
Yeah, he got a taste of the Grand Old Championship over the last couple of months without actually being called into a match day 23.
Yeah, I wondered if that HIA that he had down at Cardiff cost him a start, because he was in very good form, wasn't he, leading into that squad selection.
Attacking scrum for Saracens into the 40th minute. First 39 minutes bossed pretty much by the hosts today on their big day out. Tompkins, he'll be enjoying himself much more than he has been over the last couple of months in a red shirt. Saracens having to work hard to win this ball back, though. There's much more defensive purpose about Quins as we see out this first half.
Yes, Tompkins comes back to the forward pack. There is not enough support there from Saracens, and for the first time, really, the counter-ruck from Quins has been effective, and I suppose they can see that as a small win, can't they? They've managed to limit Saracens from scoring.
I just thought when Van Zyl got into position there to pass, he should have just got the ball out. There's only one guy in front of him. It was a really small ruck. Instead, he decided to slow the ball down. First mistake, actually, in their phase play that we've seen from Sarries. This is the best half of rugby I've seen from them, arguably all season.
Time's up at the end of the 40. We heard the gong. One last go for Harlequins, however. Kerr, Smith. Farrell was up quickly. All the way through for Dombrandt. Evans, Collier.
It's all so slow, isn't it? Behind the gain line. Players standing still, not coming on to passes, with a very determined defence rushing at you.
Smith caught instead, however, by Farrell, away quickly by Daly and Lewington, and he's free. Earl, his closest mate, that's gone loose. Smith on it.
And outside the metre, so he's okay to dive on it.
Explanation of the laws from Christoph Ridley. And Danny Kerr, rather ruefully, hammers the ball into the West Stand. If you hire a place like this to put on a show, you better put on a show. And Saracens have absolutely put on a show. Probably the less said about Harlequins in the first 40, the better. Lewington, Dan, Maitland and Maitland, pretty much all Saracens. Saracens 24, Harlequins 0 at half-time. Yeah, we're all loving being here, looking around our new surroundings. That cockerel, by the way, just to give you a sense of the scale of the South Stand that holds 17,500 people, that cockerel is 16 feet tall, and 17,500 are crammed in that, which makes it the biggest single-tier stand in the country. I'm standing next to a Chelsea supporter and an Everton supporter who have to grudgingly accept that this Tottenham Hotspur home is quite an impressive one.
It's not a patch on Goodison Park, if you're being brutally honest.
It's very impressive, this, and maybe that cockerel's the one trophy they've got to show for it at the moment. It's a world-class venue.
No changes to either side at half-time, by the way. Have a chat with Nick Evans fairly early on in this second half. It'd be really interesting to see what the theme of the chat was at the break.
I think it's energy, Nick. They've just got to do everything slightly better with more energy. Get up quicker, bounce off the floor, get into defensive line, get some line speed.
Time on,
and stop making mistakes.
Marcus Smith. If at the end of this match, Marcus Smith and Quins are winners, it'll be one of the greatest comebacks in their history. Not quite the greatest. You know where we're coming from, but it is Harlequins, so you never write them off until the final whistle goes, but they will know the second half has to be that much better. Green, kind of player who can add to that, can provide that. Kerr.
Kind of ferocity of the tackling, the line speed, just smashed by the gain line. Marcus Smith got no option but to kick the ball back.
Alex Dombrandt, who's carried the ball more than any other player in the Gallagher Premiership this season, has just got no change out of that Saracens defence. And now Saracens have it with Dan. Quickly shipped on to one of their best players in the first half, Theo McFarland. Early Saracens penalty.
Desperation, isn't it, from Harlequins? Really is. And Saracens, whatever, mentally are just on the money right from the start of this game. Massively pumped, and they've gone down 24-0 down, and they've started the second half exactly the same. Just determined. Test match intensity with everything that they're doing at the moment, and Quins just can't handle it. Got to find some courage and some bravery.
Going to plan, and Quins can make some ground. Kerr's kick, too much, and he scratches his head in frustration.
Well, he knows that's a mistake because they haven't had much possession, and Saracens just getting their timing wrong on this line out.
But Dombrandt doesn't know what to do. Oh, it's Walker, sorry, doesn't quite know what to do. Does he kick it? Does he put it into the backfield? And then he's not kicking on his own terms there, Danny Kerr, is he? Slightly rushed.
Vunipola. Oh, and then Maitland, the man with no number, but with a huge amount of threat and 2 tries already. at the start of this second half. Penalty.
Hands on the floor first, on the floor and then back on the ball.
Yeah, hands on the floor, and he's just so sharp, and they make them for someone who wasn't starting. Oh well, it's a bit late for retaliating.
Hands down,
Just a
please.
mild skirmish in the context of this fixture down the years. A fairly warmish conversation, nothing
There
more
you go
than
then, lads,
that.
Thank you.
If you're just switching on, by the way, I'm wondering why you're watching Sean Maitland. It's because Rotimi Shegan suffered a tight calf in the warm-up and was called in just before kick-off, and he's done very well. A couple of tries, 2 of Saracens' fault.
Well, it's not fine. It's not, you're right, it's not fine. But allow me to deal with it, please.
Theo Dan, who played cameo roles off England's Six Nations bench, that half an hour in Lyon last Saturday. Very much at home. McFarlane down single-handedly. Another penalty coughed up by Harlequins lot.
Yeah, and Theo Dan's got it so much, the combination. This one's going all the way. Easy score.
It's 5. It's 5 for Saracens, and it's 2 for Dan.
Well, that was probably the easiest of all of them. Harlequins. I mean, Quins fans aren't going to thank me for saying this, but they almost look like they've thrown the towel in there, because you cannot simply defend like this. Look, they've got 3 men uncommitted outside, and Launchbury really on his own trying to spin it. You can't defend like this on your own. He's come down from McFarlane. Theo Dan, he's already been outstanding in this game. Look how easily, how porous that defence is, straight through the middle.
McFarlane does really well, doesn't he? I think they might just want to look whether Billy Vunipola steps across in behind as a blocker, but
Timo is Stuart Terridge, who will be having a look at the moment. We can see the conversion. Farrell can take the conversion. Stuart Terridge has until we restart to intervene, and he's already.
I think it'll be Vunipola stepping across. Another penalty was already given Saracens' way, but it's probably worth a look.
So you got jump up and you got 2 across. I don't think there's clear access. You got penalty advantage anyway. Yeah?
Just watch Billy in the 8 shirt there. Does he step across in front? I think he's sort of spun. I don't think he does it deliberately.
I'm actually okay with that, because
what about Tizard?
It's a consequence of the fact that he's been bumped in the air.
I think that's the right decision.
There we go.
So they've not chosen to go ahead. He's been bumped back towards his own team, so I'm happy to play through and award the try.
All right, fine, thank you.
Oh, worth having a look at. Stuart Terridge made sure that we did, but Christoph Ridley happy enough.
I mean, it's one of those technical penalties, and as Austin said,
but I'll put it back on when you're
got
ready.
flipped out because of the contact in the air, so it's deliberate there. Look, he just gets bashed by Joe Launchbury back into that space, so that's why it's been deemed okay.
Owen Farrell took the opportunity, as we were having another look at that, to have a practice at this conversion. He missed, he pulled it to the left. Let's see if he's learned his lesson. This one does count. Caden Murley doing what he can to put him off, but yeah, Farrell learned his lesson. Got the direction just right second time, and the lads liked it too. 31-0.
Well, he looks so sharp, so hungry, so determined. The driver, the leader, the talisman of this team, and can hear him on the field, but they just look so sharp, so much sharper, so much tougher than their opponents today.
We'll have a chat with Nick Evans in a minute or two. See if or what kind of sense he can make out of this Harlequins performance. It's been a very uncomfortable day so far. Earl continuing to make it so, and then Cincy, he just stepped up Esterhazen and Maitland. Marcus Smith continues to work hard in defence, getting behind the ball. Mako Vunipola, Farrell, Tizard, almost up to the 22. Quinn's working hard again over the ball, nearly there, but it Falls instead for Juan Martin Gonzalez. Daly. Oh, out the back to Mako Vunipola. Van Sale. Now Judge, Christian Judge, the tight head. And then, apologies for the language, Harlequins managing to wrestle that ball back. Let's have a chat with Nick. I'm not entirely sure where to start, Nick. What do you want to say? Let's start there.
Yeah, it's not great, mate, is it? I think Lawrence said it before, tougher than the opposition, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing. We're just losing collisions all around the field, both sides of the ball, contact area around the breakdown, and therefore we can't get anything going. And we're just, they're just dictating play with the speed of ball that they're creating. So we have to make sure we start winning more contacts, mate. It's as simple as that.
We'll let you go, Nick. You've got a lot on your plate, but thanks for joining us. Again, as Nick was saying, they've got to win contacts. Defensively, they're just being opened up at the moment.
They've got a defence like a sieve at the minute, Nick. It's going through willy-nilly whenever they want. There's no defensive line, there's no structure, no line speed. They're getting absolutely crucified out there. This is a really good example. Look, he just steps to the outside, goes through a massive hole, nobody moves forward. And even then, he's isolated. It's really difficult. Let's not take anything away from Sarries. I think it's been a fantastic performance and they've been absolutely pinpoint accurate, but they've been allowed to play.
They're shell-shocked, aren't they, Quins? So even when they've got the ball, they're struggling to do anything decent with it.
Care just happy to try and put some pressure on Saracens inside their own half. Daly will make sure that home side don't last there long. Oh, and Daly gets there first. Almost got the ball away cleanly as well.
How good has Elliot Daly been today? Obviously involved in the Six Nations at various points, and he's so sharp.
I thought that passage of play, Nick, told us everything we needed to see. So it wasn't a particularly bad kick from Quins, but look at their line speed. It's non-existent. It's all over the place. They've only got 3 guys in the front field. The forwards have stopped in behind. And then as they kick, none of the forwards get back in position. So what happens if Daly does take that and go through? He's already in behind them. The effort has just been, and the energy and the life has been drained out of this Quins team by a fantastic Sarries performance. That goes to hand, potentially another try. Looking at 50 points if they're not careful.
Both sides are going to make changes very shortly as we have a look at Saracens' bench, which is just ridiculously strong. They're about to bring on numbers 16, 17 and 18 for 1, 2 and 3, and Harlequins are going to do the same. So both front rows about to be changed, we're hearing. Meantime, Beard and Quins looking to play some cards themselves. Green and Murley. Daly's there defensively this time. Dombrandt. Offload to Hammond. Dino Lamb still recovering from the injury that kept him out of the Six Nations. Here's Beard. Mentioned him 2 times in quick succession, which is encouraging from Quins in an attacking sense. Not put much together so far today. Marla. Smith, head on a swivel, looking this way and that, picks out Beard. And now Esterhazen with the tape around the head. Liner comes back in field. He's not had the change that he's had with Italy over the last couple of weeks.
No, it's the first time Quins have been through certainly this many phases, up to 8th phase now, and just trying to find some width on the ball, but being met with really strong resistance.
Apologies for the language.
Playing the 9.
49 minutes into the game, and that was the first offload in that passage of play from Quins. But they started to look a little bit more like their normal self. High tempo, getting the ball to the outside, sliding on the breaks, sliding on the tackles.
Here come the changes. It's good to see Marco Riccioni back for the first time since a neck injury that kept him out of the Six Nations, and England's Six Nations captain will be part of those coming on. So too Andy Christie we saw. And that change is happening now. The pride of doing the job for the first time as England skipper. Knew that as well, and we know all about the pain of losing his mum Jane. and now he's back amongst his mates, back amongst his own, Jamie George.
Well, he's had an incredible couple of months, hasn't he, really, in every single emotion.
That's what they told me, sorry.
And quite sensibly, Saracens, who had a short training week themselves as a group, but Jamie George rested all this week from training and knows that he was playing a part in today's game. Theo Dan's been superb, but the England captain's out on the field now for a rampant Saracens.
So what of Quins? Walker to Hammond. Dombrandt runs across to offer his way. Closest Harlequins have been to the line. Dombrandt! Finally! Finally, 50 minutes gone, and South London cheers.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, you make those changes and then suddenly your team concede, but Harlequins there, Walker initially, backs come and join it. Dombrandt, in fact, runs in and takes over, knows that there's a little bit of a soft edge down that short side, and Saracens will be disappointed with that because they have defended so well up to that point, forcing turnover after turnover, mistake after mistake, and that was a soft one for them to concede, and Quins finally are up and running.
Well, 31-7. You never know, you never know.
Dombrandt there. Saracens almost looked like they'd done enough, hadn't they? The ball had gone down, but the transfer from Walker, I think it was, to Dombrandt had already taken place.
Quins changes, by the way, 16, 17, 18. Sam Riley, Finn Baxter, Dylan Lewis on for Marler and Walker and Collier, and 19, Ernie Herbst has replaced Joe Launchbury in the second row as well. And another Saracens change that was kind of flagged, Andy Christie. What a Six Nations he had latterly, replacing Billy Vunipola in Saracens' back row.
That's long, I'm leaving it, it's long.
Daly. Ooh, did he do enough? No. It's Baxter. Rolls off the attempted challenge of Marco Riccioni. Italy missing Riccioni during the Six Nations. Kerr. Bit more momentum about Quins' work right now.
Yeah, McFarlane's offside there. That should have been a penalty, but Quins has still got it.
Esterhazy and Beard.
Couple of rolls there, but got away with it.
Big Ernie Herbst, big Andre, Esterhazy and Beard. Oh, he couldn't get the ball away because Daly, who's done a fabulous job at fullback today, was in quickly.
How good has Elliot Daly been today? Breaks, both sides of the ball, attack, defence, ball through the legs.
I think he was angry at the mistake he made, Austin, but the only mistake he's made, and what a read that is. He knows he's got to step in, and it's how decisive he is. Absolutely smashes Beard, doesn't he?
Defensively, Austin, he'd almost gambled a little bit a couple of seconds before then anyway, hadn't he, by coming up so quickly?
Well, I think he just read the play, as Lowell said. He read it, he was very decisive, knew where the pass was going. Just the shape in front of him presented that as the only realistic ball. I watched him in the Six Nations and I genuinely thought, no, he's coming towards the end of his career here. He's looking a bit off the pace. Today, he looks a sprightly youngster in the mid-20s.
Ben Earl.
Really good option from Ben Early. He recognised that Maitland wasn't with him, he was on his own. There was no clear out coming, so he just stepped back inside so he didn't run away from his support. It's only a small detail from Ben Earl, but really critical for retaining possession.
Van Sale to Green. He's been rock solid under the high ball as well, as he always is today. Dylan Lewis started for Wales against Italy in Cardiff a week ago. Smith, who played much of the game for England against France in Lyon. Evans, Liner, Green. Evans.
Fraction of indecision from Quins, really, to do with the defensive shape that Saracens are putting on them.
Beard cutting in field. Marcus Smith did well to find space where there didn't seem to be any there, but he wasn't panicked. Found his man in the end, and here he is again. Dombrandt on the angle, almost goes beyond Tompkins. Tompkins got back in the end determinedly. Quinn's just questioning the height of the tackle, but we heard what Christoph Ridley has to say.
Yeah, it's really good from Dombrandt. He's tried there, he's run across to try and find the space. Look, show real pace there, getting on the outside of Tompkins. A combination of Tompkins and Maitland, and he's just run out of space, and unfortunately Ben Earl, the work rate there, and it just forces Tyrone Green into touch.
What I liked about that defensively, though, is how wide Sarries get, but also when they get to the outside, look at the situation they're in. They're a little bit short of numbers. They go up a little bit, then they don't overcommit, they stay connected, they slide, but Maitland doesn't bite in, so he just turns and runs with them. Yes, he concedes 10 metres, but he doesn't step in. If he steps in, the ball goes to the outside, and someone a lot quicker has got an opportunity to run down the channel. Very good, intelligent defence.
Sarries changed. Nick Ezekwe, who was the target at that line out, is on for Tizard. Jamie George not finding Ezekwe. Dombrandt just beginning to make a few more tackles.
Yeah, they're getting over the gain line, and he's very effective at releasing his hands when he does that.
Esterhazen. Final few months of him as a Harlequin, him as a Londoner. No way through for Smith. The other Smith. Esterhazen. Oh, and Hammond just couldn't sort his fingers out. Green. Beard. Felt the force of Ezekwe. Esterhazen wrestled to the floor by Theo McFarland.
Not really going anywhere, Quins, though. At some point they're going to run out of numbers.
Real feather in the cap today for Saracens defence coach Adam Powell. They've done a job for him today, certainly over the first hour of this contest.
Well, if you look back at the history of this fixture more recently, it's just when Sarries turn up the heat at the breakdown and defensively, I don't think Quins have been able to cope with it. They know how dangerous a side Harlequins are when they play on the front foot. And right from the get-go today, they've smashed every opportunity.
Kerr between his legs. Dylan Lewis a bit more conventionally. Liner, and now he'll chase his kick. Van Sale goes across as he needs to. And the assistant referee's flag is up. Joe James down below us in the West Stand. There he is, there's Joe. Doesn't get it wrong, he knew.
Yeah, the point I was making, Nick, is that Quins play very well against the sides below them, and they look very good, but I think when they play against a champion side like this, no disrespect to them, they have to be stronger up front.
Esterhazen takes on Tompkins. Tompkins stood his ground. Had some help from Earl as well. Back step, Finn back step. Beard, it's popping up around the back. Maitland rolled out of the way as he tried to wrestle that ball away. Now Jamie George the kick, and then the chug forwards. A little bit more pace from Farrell, and Smith had no room for error, and Farrell was on him in a flash legally.
Yeah, great little hack through, wasn't it, from Jamie George? compounding their errors, Quins now.
Well, Jamie George hasn't trained all week. This is as far as he's run in a long time, I'd imagine.
Well, the fans are used to seeing the ball kicked around on this pitch, aren't they? So it's probably what he thought, but you could understand the need to rest and regenerate. But he's as keen and hungry and enthusiastic to get in on the action as anyone else.
Harlequins preparing to bring on Luke Northmore. It'll be a welcome return for Quins fans, player they've not seen for a while. Meantime, Maitland, before they can make that change, Lewis Liner will be heading off to create space. Actually, Nick David is coming on for Liner. Oscar Beard will make room for Northmore. Those changes yet to take place as Farrell holds on to it cleverly and finds Earl.
Yeah, just had one passing lane cut off, so he just made space for another one and just looks so sharp.
The power of Riccioni to ride the tackle of Evans, Farrell, and then Tompkins, on he goes. Has some help from Daly, who's been majestic. Back inside to Sinti. Saracens scintillating. Borrowing Spurs ground today and playing world-class rugby and levering open Quins' defence again.
Timing, decision-making, not throwing something that's too risky. The first phase from Farrell's really good. As Lowell said, he didn't pump the ball into a channel where he could have got intercepted. They're just patient. And then they get outside shoulders and they know how to pick off teams in those wide channels. This is vintage Saracens, and it's also a statement. It's a statement to those other 8 sides that fancy being in the top 4, that Sarries have got a mission and they're right on top of it.
Well, it's a lovely little double pump there, wasn't it, from Nick Tompkins. Farrell created the space, Tompkins saw it. He then creates more space, and it's just finished off superbly well. Look at this little show there. Liner's gone past the passing lane, and that is a wonderful piece of skill from Tompkins. Daly's been supreme all game, and Sinti, who's played very well himself, gets on the score sheet.
Defensively though, it's Quins dropping off tackles, getting Fens out in front of them and let people get through that tackle zone. It's the second time Beard's been handed off in the face, leading to a try. He won't like that in the analysis, but you've got to be better if you want to beat or stop this Sarries team.
Change for Quins. There was signposted a while ago back, but Jack Walker is now off for Sam Riley.
Well, this corresponding fixture at Stoop earlier on this season, I think Saracens won it 38-10, didn't they? Having been 38-3 up. I mean, it's a similar story now, but still got plenty of time left for there to be a lot more points.
Smith to Dombrand. Try scorer Sinti tried to get a hold of him and in the end did, and now trying to keep the ball off the ground. Levis. Quins missing, by the way. Chandler Cunningham South, Jack Kenningham, James Chisholm all injured. Cunningham South injured during the Six Nations, of course. Short of back row resources, but they are being exposed today by Saracens, who are feeling as good about life as they have for a long time.
Yeah, Elliot Daly there just working the ball back to possession in Saracens, just in a very, very narrow channel. Space down this short side.
Lewington, the option for McFarlane when he wants to release him. He held on to it a little bit too long.
Make sure he goes behind you.
First mistake he's made all game, isn't it, McFarlane? Some player.
Yeah, they've just been so good. You know, when teams are playing well, when every single player is contributing, it's just infectious. You know, the energy, the sharpness, the decision-making. They are absolutely buzzing. I don't know what they've done in training this week. Mark McCall saying they only had a 2-day training week. They've kept all their energy, saved it all for the day that actually matters, which is game day.
Animated conversation with his head coach Joe Shaw. But whatever that conversation was about. It leads to another one with Ian Peel.
Well, they have the highest of standards, don't they, Saracens? And at times this season, Nick, those standards are dropped, as Mark McCall said in his pre-match interview, but the detail is absolutely right today, and this has got to be one of their best 65 minutes or so.
Well, there are some changes going on here for Harlequins, because Nick David has come on to replace the replacement. Poor old Max Green has hurt his shoulder. Nick David has hurt his shoulder. He's only just been with us, and hands of consolation from Daly and from Tompkins and from Sinti. So David off, Max Green, who is a scrum half, is on and onto the left wing, and Caden Murley has moved into midfield.
That's not a nice sight, that at all. He's in a lot of pain, and looks like that might be a long layoff now, but they've got to rejig their back line.
Saracens change as well. The end of Ben Earl's day. Surely the Six Nations player of the tournament. I know there's a public vote, but we're going to have to ask questions if Ben Earl isn't the player of the tournament at the end of it. And he's just been replaced by Tom Willis, who's back with us after a long time away.
Yeah, great to see Tom Willis back in a Saracens jersey, back playing again after a nasty layoff. But back to Ben Earl, absolutely. I mean, those stats we put up before the game, they were so far ahead of any other player. Gregory Aldrich, Caelan Doris, players that have been talked about as world-class. Well, Ben Earl, on current form, is absolutely in that bracket.
Tompkins, Maitland, just had to turn around to gather the ball, so in the end the kick was the best option. Smith with Esterhazen alongside. There's a lot of spite in that run. He's not had many of them today. Made the most of that one. Evans, Dombrandt. Baxter. Had Sam Riley not far away. Herbst. Smith comes back the other way to find his captain, Levis. Evans was running hard off that, but instead it was Murley.
Trying, aren't they, to find some soft shoulders.
Oh, Finn Baxter. Language that, well, it's understandable. You'll understand the frustration that every Harlequin and every Harlequin supporter amongst you right now will be feeling.
They're just trying to push it, and often when, you know, so far behind on the scoreboard, you try and force the passes, have a wider pass, and I think those faces say it all.
I think what's really evident though, Nick, is that when you play Sarries and they're in this sort of mindset, you can't go 10-15 metres either side of the breakdown, because you're going to get smashed. You're not going to get single hit, you're going to get triple hit. So don't go there unless you think you can beat them for power. And out of the sides that are in this league, there's only really, for my money, Bath maybe, some of the players for Tigers, a little bit of Exeter that could maybe do that and win the gain line battle. Quinn certainly can't beat Sarries at the gain line, 10 metres either side of the ruck. So if they get the opportunity again, maybe in the knockouts to play him, they can't go down those channels.
Caden Murley has moved out to the right wing, by the way. He's just swapped wings, so he was on the right side. That's the way that Saracens went just then. Tyrone Green still fullback.
Look at that for a kick chase from Saracens. Unbelievably good. At this stage, what is it? 38-7, and it's that kick chase that's earned the penalty.
And now the urgency of the quickly taken penalty. They're going to get another one, and there's going to be a yellow card. Harlequins not backing away quickly enough. Oh, Ironi beautifully. Farrell, Maitland for the hat-trick. Goes around the outside, Hall just short. Ball back in field, try scored. Juan Martin Gonzalez. If anyone has any interest at winning the Premiership this season, they've got to get beyond the champions. This is the day they put down their marker.
Well, unfortunately, it's a little bit too late to start getting fired up for Harlequins. They should have thought about that when they came out of the dressing room, because they've absolutely been battered today by the champion team. And if you haven't got the ticker for it, you can have all the skill in the world, but look at this kick chase. Unbelievable. He's absolutely bottlenecked there. He's trying. Tyrone Green is a player who's got footwork, but he can't go anywhere. And then Van Zyl with the quick hands. Goons just come on. Look at the speed now. They're up against him. Saracens, Danny Care's gone to the bin. Yellow card for him for being offside. And Maitland, you couldn't blame him, Oz, for going for the hat-trick, but he flips it inside to Gonzalez.
I think the reason for the Owen Farrell being upset, and it's worth another look, Levis comes in with his knees into the ruck. It's worth another look.
Could you show me what caused it?
I think Six slides into the ruck really late with both of his knees. Where he hits Farrell could be really interesting.
Yeah, the problem I've got now is, of course, it looks like Healy's instigated it, yeah? Yeah, mate, the problem I've got now, it looks like Austin's instigating because we're late, so I don't want to talk about it, okay?
Saracens' 7th try. And another Farrell conversion.
Well, as Austin mentions, look, here it is.
Oh, come on, don't show it, because it...
That's a yellow card all day long. He's off the ball's gone, and he steps in with his shoulder with a no-arm tackle. I think it's actually Herbst, isn't it?
Tom Willis back as the season turns for home. He's been away for 4 months recovering from a knee injury.
It's not available yet. Okay, use
that
it.
sense today that Saracens, after the break, have been busy shoveling coals on the fire, getting ahead of steam.
Well, I mean, everything's come together at the same time, haven't they? The players that haven't played international rugby look right on the money. The players that have been playing international rugby have come back and they're as sharp as ever, or they're rested. And then you've got Owen Farrell, who's their leader, and he's rested and just looks in tip-top. They are timing their run. Big, big statement today.
Just a reminder that Harlequins now having to operate without Danny Care as well. He's in the bin. So Green is now in the more familiar position of scrum half. Esterhazen's on the left wing now.
Just bottling them up everywhere they go. Gang tackling, aren't they? Turning the ball over. Closing down the spaces, making the ruck speed longer and longer for Quins, pushing them backwards.
Evans. Every time, though, you're running into 2 or 3 Saracens players and they win it back, and Farrell feeds Christie. And again, Tompkins away quickly. McFarlane just a little bit of cramp, perhaps, but not so Lewington. Got his skates on. And this should be, could be, might be another. Oh, brilliantly done. And the try scored by Good. Have Saracens played better than this season? As we turn for home, as we head into the run-in, the champions are telling us all about themselves again. And they've got 50.
Well, the crowd are making the noise of right to it, but listen, it's the way that they exploit the space. They know where the space is, don't they? And that one pass there finds Lewington, and then simple hands. Gonzalez been excellent. Alex Good there. Lewington just drawing his man. Gonzalez over the top. Really good, both in attack and defence, but it was their defence really that won them that try.
Yep.
Battered Harlequins, turned the ball over and exploited the space out wide.
Wow, this is to break the record.
To go to the top of that particular table. Harlequins will happily sign his leaving card. They'll be glad to see the back of Owen Farrell. Saracens 52, Harlequins 7.
It's a brilliant performance, isn't it? I thought Northmore had done enough defensively to get back in time to fill the inside pass, but Gonzalez, what a signing he has been for these guys. Maybe just a little bit of missing X factor in that team that could take them all away again this year.
Well, everything they're doing, that little detail is right. When you get the detail right, they've got some serious quality in their squad.
Young Will Trenholm is on, 22-year-old for just the second time in the Premiership. Absolutely launched into the deep end here for Harlequins. Alex Dombrandt has taken over the captaincy from Stefan Levis, who's made room for Trenholm. Over the top of the ball, it's Gonzalez again.
All over your elbows and hands.
He wasn't supporting himself properly, however.
Yeah, it's a double penalty that, because they had penalty advantage from earlier on. Still trying to find that space, probing away. They're trying everything, Marcus Smith, but so far Saracens' line is just holding strong.
Feet, so we're going back. There's 2 penalties, but the other's quite a way back. On elbows and hands. Just on his elbows and hands as a jackler.
Well, the last 6 minutes of this match, and nothing more than a consolation score, really. Danny Kerr can only look on. 3 minutes left on his sin bin.
Harlequins defiantly. And with the new man, Will Trenholm, working hard. Dombrandt gets it away nicely as well, and Murley tripped up, lost the ball. Saracens have it. Oh, and Tompkins nearly paid the price.
Well, Dombrandt's trying, isn't he? But the out the side door pass, having been driven back in contact, he's remonstrating with the referee. But I think when they do the review on Monday, he'll realise that they've been smashed at every interface in this game.
It's Lewington, isn't it, defensively, that gets his body in there. Does a good job. I think Quins are lucky, actually, that Gu dropped it, because he had 4 guys ready to go, which could have been a full length of the field try. They might even have another go here.
I think there's a real venom in Saracens today. He's Jamie George, Pat and Caden Murley on the head there. They are so pumped for this game.
Gareth Simpson, Sarri scrum half, being challenged by Max Green, and Willis having to work hard, and you'll have enjoyed that role. In a bit of a box, in a corner, but working so hard to get out of it.
Well, he went laterally and then had the strength to come back on the inside, keep the legs pumping, and has actually turned it into a decent gain as the ball goes up in the air. Look at that kick, right on the touchline. Chase is there on the money again.
He's cleared there, he's cleared there.
Swept up by Northmore, again being hassled by Maitland, who continues to search for what would be a hat-trick try. Player of the match, who's got the job today?
I have, unfortunately, Nick, because it's a really tough one. There's been some amazing performances. Theo Dan's had a fantastic game. You can't really pick anyone who hasn't. McFarlane's also been sensational all around the field, driving game. Gonzalez, just brilliant energy and an amazing motor. Maitland scored a couple of tries and looked sharp without any notice. But a guy that's really epitomised everything that's been great about Sarries today and their energy, both sides of the ball, is that man there, Elliot Daly. Defensively, very, very strong. When Quins did have opportunities, he stopped them. The backfield, he took every single high ball, and in attack, he took the ball through his legs for one try, and that's why he's our Gallagher Premiership man of the match. Well played. Welcome back to Sarries is what they'll be saying.
Did you even mention Owen Farrell?
I didn't need to, because he's been central for everything, you know.
But it's a strength of the candidates you had to choose from today.
It was such a difficult job, but thankfully I had to make it.
No man better, as Murley angles it towards halfway. Again, look at the time and look at the effort still defensively.
And look at who's at the centre of it, Farrell again.
It's a Quins penalty, however. Max Green. And then Smith. Tyrone Green, he's not stopped. Congratulations as well to any Quins fans who are still watching this. You've had 52 reasons over the course of 78 minutes to switch off, so if you're still with us, you're a loyal supporter. It's been a tough watch for Harlequins and everyone who follows them today.
Yeah, right from start to finish, and they will have to go away and lick their considerable wounds and think about how they repair their game, because up front and in every department they've been just blown away right from the first whistle.
Quinn still slap bang in the middle of the playoff debate, of course. This is a blip, and a big blip, but they've got Bath at home next Saturday before we head off into the last 16 of the Champions Cup. They still have so much more to play for as Danny Kerr comes back off on after the yellow.
We said last night, Nick, actually, that the first 3 games are arguably the most important in this run-in, the chase for that top 4, and you look at all the runs that the sides have got. Quins have got the most difficult one. Today they've been hammered. Now they've got to take on Bath, who on paper look fantastic.
We're just going to have a little look at something here.
There's a high tackle.
Penalty, high tackle against Sarries, I think. It's on Tyrone Green.
Just drops just at the last, see? And just catches him on the chin. Just step in here.
Okay,
yellow card.
All right, mate, you got yellow, okay. Yeah.
It's just a last-minute dip, so yellow card for Lewington, who's been excellent, but means that the last minute of this game will be Harlequins.
That's the third yellow of the match. Stefan Levis for Quins in the first half. Danny Kerr just back on from his in this second, and now Lewington. So into the 80th minute, and Harlequins, well, I'm not sure what another try would mean on the way back home, but there's an opportunity to at least put it in the kit bag. Taken by Hammond. Evans, Kerr, lost by Esterhazen, sums it up, I'm afraid, for Harlequins today. Oh, and then Gonzalez somehow got it away. Surely Sarries aren't going to score from here. That would sum up their day.
Well, Quins with a turnover.
Kerr floats it away, beautifully taken, and not far away, Luke Northmore, but that'll do. Borrowing Tottenham's gaff, Saracens crowing like a cockerel, and on their big day out, a performance to match the surroundings. Quins embarrassed, Quins undressed. They won't be able to head south and get home quickly enough. Final score at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What a score, what a statement from the champions. Saracens 52, Harlequins 7.